Hi, I'm Ron Bateman, the Sheriff of Anne Arundel County. Welcome to your Anne Arundel's Most Wanted program, a program where we showcase wanted criminals, highlight open cases, and look to you for tips. You, concerned citizens that share my same goal, and that's keeping our communities safe. You'd be proud to know that your calls have allowed us to put handcuffs on thousands of criminals. So sit back, set your DVR, or grab a pen and paper, and help do your part in catching criminals. You're watching Anne Arundel's Most Wanted.
Well, I first want to say Happy New Year to everyone. Happy New Year to you, Amy.
Thank you, Sheriff.
And of course, a regular guest on our show, Corporal Amy Megan from the Annapolis Police Department. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Who did you bring for us?
I've got 3 people today. The first one is Melissa Kilhare. Her date of birth is July 7th of 1977. She's a Hispanic female, 5 foot 1 inches tall, weighing 110 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. She does not have a last known address, and she has 1 warrant for motor vehicle unlawful taking and theft less than $100. This warrant stems from an incident where an Annapolis officer was flagged down by a man at the 24/7 gas station on Forest Drive. The man told the officer that when he went inside to pay for his fuel, a woman climbed into his Chevy Malibu and drove away. Officers searched the area for the vehicle and located it unoccupied in the 900 block of Bethany Court. The vehicle had collided with a parked vehicle and was abandoned. The officers located a woman, later identified as Melissa Kilhare, walking in the area. The victim identified her as the woman he saw driving away with his vehicle. Kilhare gave officers a fake name and date of birth, and then later gave them the correct name and date of birth. Kilhare could not be charged that night, but the officer was able to obtain this arrest warrant for Kilhare. And our second subject is John Rayford Fleming. He also goes by the name Troy. His date of birth is September 13th of 1984. He's a Caucasian male, 5 foot 10 inches tall, weighing 155 pounds. He has brown hair and hazel eyes. His last known address is 1820 Woods Road in Annapolis, and he has 2 open warrants. The first warrant is for failing to appear in court for a charge of failing to remain at the scene of an accident. The second warrant is for failing to appear in court for the charges of second-degree assault and drunken disorderly. The first warrant stems from a traffic accident that occurred at West Street and Admiral Drive. Fleming left the area without providing information to the other driver. He was arrested and charged, but failed to appear on these charges. The second warrant stems from an incident where Fleming was caught by the employee of a business going through private offices and told to leave. Once Fleming was removed from the business, he brandished a silver table knife at the employee. Fleming fled the scene, but was apprehended by police. Fleming was intoxicated and charged with drunk, disorderly, and second-degree assault. He also failed to appear on these charges. And the last subject is Dustin Brooks Cantrell. His date of birth is December 31st of 1981. He's a Caucasian male, 6 foot 1 inches tall, weighing 160 pounds, with brown hair. He also has a tattoo on his left wrist. His last known address is 138 Willow Lane in Walhalla, South Carolina. He has a warrant for possession of equipment to administer controlled dangerous substances. At 12:30 in the morning, officers responded for a report of 2 men entering vehicles at a closed business. Officers located the 2 men on the business's parking lot and began to question them. One of the men was Cantrell. The officer asked for consent to search the men, and they agreed. The officer found drug paraphernalia on Cantrell. Cantrell was arrested and charged, but failed to come to court.
Very good. Folks, you know the whereabouts of any of those individuals. Do not approach them. Instead, call that number on the screen, 410-222-1490 or 911 24 hours a day. Your tips are definitely paying off, so keep those calls coming in. You know, it's a great time to bring up, next month we are going to feature myself and Colonel Tabor from the Sheriff's Office are going to be here talking about, like Mr. Fleming there, we're going to educate our viewers about the number of warrants we have that are for failure to appear, which is a tremendous amount,
Yes.
around 74%. Probably, it's not only countywide, but it's statewide and probably countrywide. So again, we're going to have a little special about the warrants next month. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sheriff.
And now for another regular guest on our show, Detective Sergeant Ed Eicher from the Maryland State Police, Glenn Bernieberg. Welcome back to the show, Ed.
Thanks, sir.
Who'd you bring for us?
We have three today. First one's Mr. Jose Balmoil Garcia, Hispanic male, born February 14th, 1978. Last known address was on Maple Lane in Savannah Park. On Sunday, September 21st, 2014, troopers observed a white Chevrolet Express van with Maryland registration swerving completely off the road, in which all four tires were on the shoulder of the roadway. The van then swerved back into the right-hand lane and then immediately swerved across 3 lanes to the far left lane. While attempting to stop the vehicle, it continued to swerve back and forth for another 1.5 miles between the two left lanes. The vehicle did finally come to a stop, and after contact by troopers, the driver was found not to have a license in his possession, but did identify himself as Mr. Jose Balmoil Garcia. While speaking with Garcia, troopers detected the strong odor of an alcoholic beverage on his breath and observed his eyes to be glassy and bloodshot. Garcia advised that he had 3 beers prior to driving, which eventually changed to 5 beers. Garcia was requested to perform standard field sobriety test, which he performed poorly on and was subsequently arrested for DUI. At the time of the test, Garcia was close to 3 times the legal limit for Maryland. And since then, he's failed to appear numerous times for his trial date, and most recently on May 5th, 2016. An active bench warrant is on file. We also have Julio Diaz Rodriguez, a Hispanic male, born February 10th, 1991. October 17th, 2015, troopers were on patrol while they observed a silver Honda vehicle with Maryland registration traveling at a high rate of speed in the far left lane. Radar was activated and a speed of 87 miles per hour was achieved in a 55-mile-an-hour zone. While behind the vehicle, it was observed swerving over the solid white line onto the left shoulder by a half car width and traveled for approximately 300 feet before coming back into the full lane. The Honda then swerved over the dotted line into the middle lane, forcing another vehicle that was already in the middle lane to swerve left to avoid a collision. The Honda then straddled between the 2 left lanes and the middle lane for approximately 400 feet. After a traffic stop was conducted, the Honda pulled to the left shoulder and then struck the Jersey wall as it was attempting to stop. The driver was contacted and identified as Mr. Julio Diaz Rodriguez, and he was found to possess only a learner's permit. While speaking with Rodriguez, a strong odor of alcoholic beverage was emitting from his interior of the vehicle. His eyes were watery and bloodshot. He was advised that he had a few beers throughout the evening before getting behind the wheel. Field sobriety tests were conducted, which he performed poorly on, and was subsequently arrested for DUI and found to be twice the legal limit for Maryland. Rodriguez had a court date in October of 2016, which he had failed to appear for, so an active bench warrant is on file for him. Lastly is one of our repeat offenders. Your tips brought him into custody a while ago, but he has since failed to appear again. It's Mr. Billy Gene Fowdy, a white male, born May 22nd, 1987. His last known address was on Bruce Street in Laurel, Maryland. Fowdy was a passenger in a vehicle traveling on I-95. During the traffic stop, Fowdy was observed to have numerous track marks along his arms and nodding off in mid-sentence while troopers were speaking with him. Observing signs of opiate intoxication, troopers searched the vehicle and found numerous items of heroin and paraphernalia. He was subsequently arrested and released on a $5,000 bond. He failed to appear for his last court date in June, where an active warrant was against him, and thanks to your tips, he was arrested. Since then, he's failed to appear yet again for the same charge, and an active bench warrant is back open on him. You may remember Fowdy from our previous times as identifying himself as a professional panhandler. So you may see him on the corners of any street between Laurel and the surrounding areas.
Very good, folks. You know the whereabouts of any of those individuals. Do not approach them. Call that number on the screen, 410-222-1490 or 911. 24 hours a day. Keep those tips coming in because we are locking up thousands of people because of our viewers. Ed, thank you very much, buddy.
Thank you.
Happy New Year to you.
Same to you, sir.
Now it's my pleasure to introduce a new guest on our show, Mark Lemansky, who's the Public Information Officer for the Anne Arundel County Police. Welcome to the show, Mark.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Now, talking to Mark off camera, Mark's a retired major from the College Park Police, where he spent 28 years and just retired last month, right?
Yes, sir.
So welcome to Anne Arundel County, and glad to have you here on the show with us.
Thank you very much.
Who'd you bring for us?
Well, we have three individuals, Sheriff. First, we have Stephen Thomas Cantler. Stephen Cantler is a 31-year-old white male who is 6 feet 1 inch tall, 190 pounds, with a date of birth of July 17, 1985. He resides at 1321 Argyle Drive in Arnold, Maryland. On November 15, 2016, at approximately 9:20 p.m., officers met with a victim who was reporting a burglary on Blue Ridge Place in Cape St. Clair. Officers learned that the homeowner had been in the hospital for several weeks and that during that time, someone had entered the house and removed several credit cards from a wallet belonging to the homeowner. As a result of a traffic stop of Cantler, officers discovered him to be in possession of credit cards belonging to the victim. Officers applied for charges against Cantler, who currently has an active warrant for first-degree burglary. The second individual is Cody Austin Flood. Cody Flood is a 23-year-old white male, 5 feet 5 inches tall, 145 pounds, with a date of birth of June 25, 1993. He resides at 7910 Sutherland Court in Pasadena, Maryland. On Sunday, November 20th, 2016, at 3:45 in the afternoon, officers met with a victim who reported that she was raped by Flood. The victim told officers that Flood had sexual intercourse with her without her consent. The victim reported that she was with Flood at his Pasadena apartment on November 16th when she had fallen asleep. When she woke up, she realized she had been raped and immediately left the apartment. Detectives initiated an investigation and obtained criminal charges against Flood, who has an active warrant for second-degree rape. If you know the whereabouts of Flood or have any information about him, please contact the Anne Arundel County Police Criminal Investigations Division at 410-222-4737. The third individual is Sean Douglas Riley. Sean Riley is a 38-year-old white male, 6 feet 5 inches tall, 280 pounds, with a date of birth of November 20th, 1978. He has no fixed address, but is known to frequent the Glen Burnie area. Riley has an active warrant for 2 counts of first-degree burglary. On December 2nd, 2016, at approximately 10:12 a.m., officers responded to the 200 block of Scotts Manor Drive for a report of a burglary that had occurred earlier. Upon arrival, officers spoke to the homeowners, who advised that while sitting in the living room of their home, they observed their son, identified as Sean Douglas Riley, walk up the stairs from the basement. This was a surprise to them because Riley was not supposed to be in the residence due to a protective order issued against him. Riley was asked to leave several times by the homeowners, but he refused. Eventually, Riley left the residence on his own accord. It wasn't until after he left that the homeowners realized he had broken a basement window to gain entry into the residence and had stolen 30 pills of oxycodone prescription medication. Officers filed for charges against Riley, who currently has an active warrant for 2 counts of first-degree burglary.
Very good. Folks, you know the whereabouts of any of those individuals. I know I sound like a broken record, but do not approach them. Call that number on the screen, 410-222-1490, 911, 24 hours a day. Mark, great job.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Okay, first I want to say Happy New Year to all our viewers. And again, thank you so much for watching our show and calling in and giving us your tips. I know I keep saying it all the time, but they are definitely paying off. So if I sound a little stuffy, I started off 2017 with a cold. So I'll do the best I can. So our first subject, it's going to be James Peter Elliott. On July the 14th, 2016, County Police responded to 325 Johnson Farm Lane in Glen Burnie for a domestic in progress. Upon arrival, they met with the complainant, who advised her boyfriend, James Elliott, had thrown her vehicle keys into the backyard of his home when she refused to speak with him anymore and had attempted to leave. He had also kicked the victim's car, breaking the driver's side taillight. Elliott was on scene at the time, yelling so loudly that a neighbor from the next street over came to the corner to see what the commotion was. Officers repeatedly told Elliott to quiet down, which went ignored. He displayed a range of emotions, going from angry to crying in a very short period. Elliott was taken into custody by the officers for transport to a hospital for psychological evaluation, hyperventilation, falling to the ground, screaming, and non-cooperation followed. Once he was secured in a patrol vehicle, Elliott began banging his head against the door forcefully enough to cause movement of the glass, then engaged in foot stomping and thrashing back and forth in the seat. At the hospital, the dramatics continued to include screaming, spitting, and going limp when needing to move. The officers later applied for charges against Elliott for the behaviors he exhibited on the scene of the initial call for failing to obey a law enforcement officer, disorderly conduct, malicious destruction of property, and disturbing the peace. So today, we are looking for James Peter Elliott, who's a 30-year-old white man with a date of birth of June 16, 1986. He's 5'7" tall, weighs 170 pounds, has brown hair and brown eyes. His last known address is 325 Johnson Farm Lane in Glen Burnie. Our next subject, that is Jermaine Marquis Calloway Jr. Calloway Jr. currently has 4 open warrants. The first, second, and third warrants were issued on September 27, 2016 for, as you've heard me say all the time, failing to appear for court for his several prior burglary charges. The fourth was issued on November 14, 2016 for failing to appear once again for yet another burglary case. So today, we are looking for Jermaine Marquis Calloway Jr., who's a 24-year-old black male with a date of birth of September 24, 1992. He's 5'10" tall, weighs 211 pounds, and has black hair and brown eyes. His last known address is 2002 Military Place in Odenton, Maryland. Next subject, it's going to be Mark Samuel Pillay. Pillay currently has 2 open warrants, both for violating the terms of his probation. Both terms of probation were for prior theft under $1,000 convictions. Both of his VOPs were issued on November 23rd, 2016, after he was arrested by Harford County Sheriff's Office on CDS possession charges, which was a clear violation of his obey all laws provision. He also failed to report as ordered, failed to notify prior to changing address, and failing to submit to drug treatment, evaluation, or counseling. So today we are looking for Mark Samuel Pillay, who's a 50-year-old white man with a date of birth of September 4th, 1966. He's 5'9" tall, weighs 180 pounds. He has blonde hair and blue eyes. His last known address is 8049 Veterans Highway, Unit 11, in lovely Millersville, Maryland. And our last subject, that is Daryl Rodney Green. Green currently has 2 open warrants. The first was issued on October 22nd, 2016, after county police responded to an address on Sprite Way for the report of a domestic. Upon arrival, they learned from the victim her ex-boyfriend, Daryl Rodney Green, had assaulted her. In addition to striking her in the face and holding her against her will, he threatened having friends and family jump her, shoot her, and kill her. Green was not on location at the time the county police arrived, so they applied for these charges against him. The second warrant was issued on November 17, 2016, for violating the terms of his probation on a prior CDS possession conviction. The fresh assault and false imprisonment charges directly opposed the obey all laws provision of probation. Another warrant was the result. So today, we're looking for Daryl Rodney Green, a 27-year-old black male, date of birth of April the 8th, 1989. He's 6'1" tall, weighs 200 pounds, and has black hair and brown eyes. His last known address is 672 Sprite Way in Glen Burnie. Now, folks, you know the whereabouts of any of those individuals. You know the drill. Do not approach them. Instead, call that number, 410-222-1490, or 911 24 hours a day. Keep them calls coming in. You are responsible for thousands of arrests. Now, I want to tease for next month's show. February, I'm going to have Colonel Tabor from my office in, and we're going to talk and educate our viewers about the number of arrest warrants that we have on hand and what they actually consist of. Maybe allay your fears somewhat, if you have any. So, now as we close, I want to thank a few people to allow the show to happen every single month. First, the big dog behind the camera there, Mr. Dale Boyer. From my office, Lieutenant Jennifer Gilbert Duran. Great job, Jen. I really appreciate that. The county executive, Mr. Steve Shue. Chiefs of police from Anne Arundel County and Annapolis City. It's going to be Tim Altamari and Mike Pristoop. And from the Maryland State Police, the superintendent, my friend Colonel Bill Palazzi. Folks, let's keep Anne Arundel County safe. I'm Sheriff Ron Bateman, and we're going to see you next time on Anne Arundel's Most Wanted.